Galisteo back at it again in 2023 with 15,000 games squished, compressed, got them on this 128 gigabyte image. Yeah, so for, I understand the price of Raspberry Pi 4 is expensive right now. You could get a Pi 400 and things are looking brighter at this point. I knew it took a while. But the Raspberry Pi 4, although it has limitations as far as how high you can emulate, it still makes a great emulation build for your TV, for your office, for your, next to your computer monitor, whatever it might be. But it has all the nostalgia and more because there's also homebrews, hacks. This thing is packed. And this is a RecalBox build. So I hit start here, you can see it says RecalBox version 8.1.1. So it's a very recent version of RecalBox. A lot of you out there watching my channel might be running a build from a few years ago. This might be a good little build to upgrade to. It has more games, it's more optimized, it's running better than ever. And as you can see here, it comes, you could change you could turn the background music on or off. You can overclock with the click of a button. There's a custom theme installed. Look how good this looks. When you click into a system, you got these nice long lists. You can hit your bumpers to jump down to other games. It tells you all the metadata here on the bottom. You even have video snaps and other information as well. And today's sponsor is going to be Temu.com. They spent millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad and millions of dollars to sponsor this video right here. And Temu.com for us today, they are advertising their Nintendo Switch OLED for $264. That's well below the MSRP you're going to find on a lot of other websites and other vendors at $300. So a nice little discount. Now, do note it is going to take a little longer to get to you, but here they are, $264. You choose your color of the controllers. Additionally, it is the Hong Kong edition, HK version. Depending on where you are, I know a lot of my viewers are in potentially, the UK or in US. And so you just want to get the proper power adapter. The power adapters are also available on Temu.com, and those are about $12. So factor that in on your price, depending on what you're buying. Some of you might already have a power adapter. So they want to promote that, and that is a pretty good deal, especially on a Nintendo product, which typically does not discount. The other thing that I think maybe my viewers are going to be more interested in is the Anbernic devices. As you see here, the RG335XX, which is the latest and greatest in basically a Game Boy clone that plays everything and is beautiful and has very slim bezels. If you're watching this video, you probably know all about it. It's really cool, right? Well, hey, they sell it for $62.88. If you search retro gaming handheld, you'll find hundreds of other handhelds, some of which I've reviewed on this channel, some of which I have not yet, but other Anbernic devices like the RG351, which I have, the RG20S, it's pretty cool. So while it is legit, it takes a little longer to ship, but hey, you're going to get this stuff on a deep discount. Might be something to check out. So give Temu.com an opportunity to wow you. You can always start with a lower budget thing, see if they comes out with what you want, and then think about maybe getting something else. But right now they're promoting their Nintendo Switch with a Nintendo Switch charger. I'll put that in the link in the description, and thank you for Temu.com for sponsoring this video. So let's go ahead and dive into this, but just right off the bat, it's really good. It's been out for a while. The reason I didn't review this initially is because Galisteo, who makes the image, does ask for donations. I don't know exactly, but he definitely asked for money a little more aggressively than other people. And so I wanted to wait until you can get this image for free to review it. And right now it is on backups. Or it's actually on Arcade Punks. It's not on backups.me. It's on Arcade Punks. You can grab it over there. You can also grab it directly from him, but he requires some kind of donation. So without further ado, you are able to get it for free. Now, this is only going to run on the Raspberry Pi 4, so keep that in mind. And what I want to do in this video is, one, show you how to change the language. It is going to come in Portuguese when you first start out, but it's super easy to switch that off. The other thing I switched off was the sounds, just so I don't, it doesn't go over my voice and I don't get a copyright strike from YouTube. Now, good to see all these light gun games. Very nice. Mostly MAME games, some console games on here as well. Now, really quick on the Raspberry Pi 4, I mentioned this earlier. They were hard to get, but when all is said and done, a little 128 gigabyte, micro SD card plus the Raspberry Pi, plus a controller, you could be doing this under $100 all day in the past. And so, if you already have a Pi or you want to get a Pi when the prices do come down and they're available, this is absolutely a really cool image to try out. That 128 is really kind of a sweet spot. And this thing is packed with consoles. So the reason I like Galisteos is he goes deep. I mean, look at all these consoles you're seeing here. All the Nintendo consoles, but even like some Lutro, some ones you don't see on like MSX Turbo R. What else don't you see a lot of? Pico 8. All the rest are pretty normal. Solaris, a lot more people are doing this. TIC 80, there's quite a few little systems in here you don't find anywhere else. So why don't we get started with 3DO? And as I'm going through the menus here, we can talk a little bit about 3DO runs decent on the Raspberry Pi. You'll see in a moment, though, with Atomis Wave. Atomis Wave, I was actually, let's see how many are in there. So 3DO is only a couple. So 119 games here. If you're looking at your screen right now, it tells you how many games right in the middle of your screen there by the play button. So what was I saying is, and I think these all have video. Let's see, do these have video snaps? Yeah, look at that. They all have video snaps, which is pretty impressive for a 128 gigabyte image. You have a preview picture here, and then we'll go ahead and go into a video, and you can see the game, especially if it's a game you haven't played before. If you haven't played Battletoads before, come on, where have you been? But good game. And there's quite a few systems. I'd be interested to count how many systems are on here. I'm sure it's got to be in the 30 to 40 to 50 systems. So Amstrad, you got 357. I'm not going to go into all of them. What I did want to kind of skip to really quick before I go into this, show you this, which I really like. So for example, Super Nintendo had a lot of, this is alphabetical order, right? So Super Nintendo is going to be by itself over here. And if you see here, you have these little folders. And the folders here, you got Homebrew folder, 25 games. This is going to be your international releases, your Portuguese games, 132. Then you have a Satellaview games that they made that weren't exactly, they're add-on games. And then you have the Super Famicom, the Japanese games. And then you have the hacks. Then you have, how many are in here total? You have 1,400 games in here total, almost 1,450. And so I like that. If you just want to play your Nintendo, here you go. You just scroll down, and here's all your Nintendo games. You're going to play Super Mario RPG. You're going to be able to find all your really fun games. But like the hack games, there's 121. I like that he includes these, and I like that he has a little folder for it. They're not on the main menu, but they're in here nonetheless. Like, for example, I know there's a Donkey Kong game where it's all boss fights. There's F-Zero. There's later I'll be playing Street Fighter, Mario Kart. So these are kind of fun. Not all hacks are made equal. Some are really cool. Some are lame. But I like that they're there. And I like the way he organized them in there. So I just want to skip to that really quick as we were going through the games to show you one of the reasons why I like this build. I think it's well sought out from that perspective. So we're on CPC. I'm not going to go into every system. 654, so it's pretty much got all the Atari games. But again, you have 3 homebrew games. Pretty nice to see. And then 19 hack games. So I haven't played any of these for Atari. And so that could be fun, especially for somebody who grew up with an Atari, to see what they've done with development with that, like fan-made games, things like that. Atari 7800, okay, what do we have? 5200, we have 73, and then 7800, we have 64. Now, Thomas Wave. Later in the video, I will be playing Dolphin Blue, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. Now, you would get even better performance if you overclock this thing. So consider doing that if you're going to be playing a Thomas Wave. Commodore 64, you got 278. Coleco, you got all of them. Dreamcast, you got 15. Now, there's also Naomi on here as well. So you'll see there's quite a bit actually in that kind of Dreamcast Naomi catalog. But you can see here all the kind of most popular ones. You're probably like, oh, where is, what's the game I want to call it? What's that game? Let me go to Naomi. I'm forgetting the name of the name. It's one of the most popular games that people love to play. There you go, Power Stone 1 and 2. Yeah, so Power Stone is on here. It's just going to be in the Naomi catalog. So as far as you all with the Dreamcast, there's also the Naomi catalog over here. So you might be finding those games that you can't find in the Dreamcast here. Okay, so between Dreamcast and Naomi, you can see there you're actually closer to 40 or 50 games. which again is pretty cool considering this is only 128 gigabyte image. Like those are big games, these things. So this is cool to see that there is hack games in the Capcom. So in your arcade set here, your CPS 1, 2, and 3, that you have some hacks as well. A lot of fun stuff in here. I'd highly recommend this category over here. And I've never played any of these hacks either. I'd like to check them. Actually, no, I have. I've played some of the Cadillac and Dinosaurs hacks as well. But there's some fun stuff in here. There's all your Street Fighters, the Insane, Golden, Double K, Accelerator. So, and it tells you a little information on it. You can also Google these games, and look what the developer, what they did to hack them. So Family Computer Disk System, I don't know if there's any hacks or not. So just a total of 196. And by the way, the Capcom games, 151. But again, that's going to be 52 hacks, so 110 regular games. Family Computer, we were at 196. Game Gear, 265. Nintendo Game Boy, 512. Pretty much all of them. Game Boy Advance, all of them. But there's probably going to be hacks in here as well. Let's check. No hacks. Okay. And Game Boy, any hacks? Yeah, homebrews, you got 20 on the Game Boy. Okay. Going back, Game Boy Advance, no hacks. Game Boy Color probably has, 6 homebrews. There you go. Those are the homebrews. And then Game & Watch, you have a total of 59. Pretty much all of them you see on all images, 159 in television. Lutro, you have 9 games. Toast, I think, is on here. And different version of Tetris. I've never played that version of Tetris. And then Atari Lynx, you have 77. I wonder if there's any homebrews there. Nope. So MAME, here's your arcade games, not CPS 1, 2, and 3. Maybe CPS 1, 2, and 3 are in here as well, but that's still a large arcade set. You got Mortal Kombat 2 Plus. All right, so in case you were curious, they have a tag team mode. They fixed bugs that Midway never fixed. Audio sound bites they added, all levels unlocked and new levels added. All characters are unlocked, EMAC and Smoke. New characters, Rain, new Chameleon, and Sabot are all out. And then improved factory user settings as well. So cool that it's basically a, ran through, they took the code, they took the source code, fixed it, and then remade a game out of it. So that's pretty cool. You guys want to check that out. Okay, so let's go back. Arcade 1900. Sega Master System 502. We got homebrews. We got Japanese games, Tech Toy as well, and then the whole rest of them. We got Sega Mega Drive, also known as Genesis, 1400 games, 1450, almost the same as Nintendo 64. Kind of funny how that all works out. And again, you have it all. You have your Japanese games, your hacks, your Portuguese games, homebrews, all nicely organized there. MSX Turbo, 615. That's quite a bit. So a lot there. Nintendo 64, almost 237. That's over 2/3 of the catalog right there. Naomi, we already went in 35. Neo Geo 192. Neo Geo CD only one, huh? They only picked one game, huh? Xenocrisis. Oh, cool little game. All right. Nintendo 2,222. And you can see there 700 of them are hacks. Almost 200 are Portuguese, 116 homebrews, 92. The people that are going to complain on this video, like, oh, I don't want those Portuguese games, they're not. They're taking up less than a couple megabytes, maybe less than a 10, 20, 30 megabytes. So don't trip on that. You calm down. Neo Geo Pocket 9, Neo Geo Pocket Color 79, Odyssey 114, Open Bore 12. PC Engine 94. That's nice to see. A lot of people like PC Engine. Great system. And so you can see here quite a large collection. So far, I'm really digging this. You'll see later with the performance, you really need to overclock to play the system coming up, Sega Saturn. Like, it just does not run well. PC Engine CD-ROM, just one game. Pico 8, you got 487 games. Wow. So you got plenty to play with there. Ports, you got your Wolfensteins, your Outrun, your Flashback, Quake 2, and Wolfenstein. PSP, I was surprised to see so many here. You got all the mini games, or a lot of them, 114, and then you have some full PSP games here. Now, these games are really big, so it's cool to see them, and all these are going to run just fine on the Raspberry Pi 4 without an overclock. Now, PlayStation, 136, and I played Bloody Roar 2. It seemed like the audio files were intact, so these are going to run well, and they are not the super stripped down versions. So that was good to see. Mortal Kombat 3 and 4, and then do you have Tony Hawk Pro Skater? They got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on N64, and then they also have it on the PlayStation. For those of you who don't know, the soundtrack is slightly different on the two consoles, so depending on which version you like, both games rock. And then here's the games. So Cotton 2, I played it. It's a little laggy. And then Golden Axe, you get some glitches on the actual graphics. I didn't play the other games, but I really think you need to overclock 1 and 2. I would not be getting this image for that. So here's a little downside to the image right here. You'll see all these say BR next to them. They are in Portuguese, so that is kind of lame. I don't know if you could change the language or not, but it's such a small thing. But if in case you are downloading this image for ScumBM, do know you'll have to add your own ROMs for that. I don't know if you can change the language within them or not, but I would just get the regular ROM myself. Okay, Sega 32X, 40 games. And then 2 of them are hacks. So you got a Doom Resurrection and Sonic in Chaotix by JJF Tales. It says on the bottom there, replacing mighty sprites with those of Sonic. Sonic is now a playable character in the game. So basically same game, just different skin. All right, and then the Doom is completely replaced with the original engine, adding performance improvements and new features, as well as missing levels from the Jaguar port. Pretty cool. That could be fun. I wouldn't mind trying that one out. So you can see there, it even gives you the, so you got 2 Sega CD games. SG-1000, 68 games. We already looked in the Super Nintendo earlier. You got all of them, plus homebrews, things like that. You got the Zelda games here. Let's go ahead and go in here. Yep. Then you got Sufami, 15. Then we got Super Graphics, probably 5. Yep, same 5 you see everywhere. And then you have all these older games here. Vectrex, you got 71. Virtual Boy, you got them all pretty much. Wonder Swan, 112. Wonder Swan Color, 91. And then you have his favorites. Let's see what he says are his favorites. Okay, so Castlevania for PSP, F-Zero for Super Nintendo, F-Zero for N64. So Final Fight for Super Nintendo, all the Super Nintendo Final Fights. I Must Run is a PSP Mini, another PSP Mini. Mario Kart, Metal Slug Anthology is PSP. Okay, I thought it was. I think they also made it for Atomic Wave as well. But Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, New Super Mario Land. So this is a hack. I don't love this game, but yeah, it's a hack to make it look like the Super Mario Land and regular Super Nintendo version as well. Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max for Super PSP, okay. And then Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo. A lot of Super Nintendo. Interesting. Now, you can absolutely add your favorites. These are going to be Y or X on your controller. That's easy to do. And then the light gun games, these are all over the place. But you can see another little cool thing about RecalBox is you could see what in these collections, it tells you what system it is, not only on the, I guess you can't see it on the bottom, but on the, so here's one where people might complain is the metadata here is in Portuguese. It's not in, so it's not perfect. There are going to be some metadata in the arcade set, it looks like, that are not in English. But on the left side of these games here, you can see the MAME. The next one's Super Nintendo. Then you have Sega Genesis because they have the controllers on. So for this part, hit start on your controller, go down to configures, the second item, and then go over to Idioma, change it to English, go back, press OK, and then it'll reboot. So final thoughts. Final thoughts, great image. Like I said, I like this image because it's so compact. One of the reasons why he's won some of my best images of the year reward is one, I love RecalBox. I love it for newbies. This size is great because it's not a ton of bandwidth. It's also price conscious as far as, a micro SD card. Once you get past, and it's just loaded. It has everything that the Raspberry Pi 4 can run, right? The only thing you could possibly add is more PlayStation games. There's a lot more of those, more Nintendo 64. There's certain systems that are disc-based like Dreamcast. But other than that, it's got everything. As far as archives, it's got everything, right? From Atari all the way up to Sega Saturn. That being said, I would probably eliminate Sega Saturn myself, but it's a small thing. And then the cons really are going to be, one, I don't like that he asked for money for his image. I think it should be donation-based at the most. The two, that there is things in Portuguese, and you need to change the language, as well as some of the things are not going to be changed. For example, the Scum DM games, some of the metadata, but that's about it. And then, yeah, I think those are the two main cons. Everything else is pretty cool. So that's what I think. Let me know what you all think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.